So, as you can see, I'm just going to move my face down here because everyone's going to be scared and afraid of this. A lot of people have been asking me, like, where are the Rashid matches and shit? Like, where did they go? What is going on? Where is your Rashid matches? Obviously, you can see in the top left, I played quite a bit of Rashid. I put a couple of days into him and probably got about 100 matches in total. However, this character drove me insane. Actually made me mental at some points, to the point where I don't think it's great content just to put up all the matches in general, because for me, Rashid was a character full of really high highs and extremely low lows. Why is that? So the good things about the character is that he's inherently really weird, right? There's so many like funky things on him that are just interesting, and it's like, oh, maybe I can use this there, oh, maybe I can use it there. There's almost a daunting amount of stuff that you can do with him, and it's like, geez, this is gonna take me so long to figure out all this shit and how this will be working and how I'm gonna utilize it. Anyway, there's also a lot of good things at the early level of Rashid that in the first couple of days would just have absolutely shot you up the ranked leaderboard. And it's charging that full wind move and then doing a big amplified special out of it in some way, whether it's a jump or the kick or the spin. That would have just ripped people up through knowledge checks in the first couple days of Rashid being out. So anyway, the last day I played was about 4 or 5 days after the character had come out. And it was pretty difficult to figure out when to actually utilize these tools, because as a new character, I want to try the things he has and sort of figure out what you can do with it. Like, what do they want us to use this for? For the majority of characters in Street Fighter 6, I will say, here's the cool corner combo. Hang on a second. Will I get the level 3 here? This does a lot of damage. Yeah. For the majority of characters in Street Fighter 6, you feel that. You're just like, oh, you're going to use this tool for this tool for that. Like, a lot of the things they have are actually pretty good. Over time, as we were playing a bit more Rashid and getting into these matches, I started to notice that I think this shit is garbage. Not everything. Some things were obviously pretty good, but some moves seemed like aggressively bad. What the holy shit, man? Like, why is this move just seems bad? And this move also seems kind of bad. And now, even that full screen charge tornado thing ended up being very easily punishable. So anybody that like has half a brain and you're not fighting, you know, lower ranks where people are just like pressing buttons all over the place, people were just jumping back and punishing everything. So it was like, oh no, like the gimmicky sort of fun thing that he does isn't actually that good, which was unfortunate. It's only good on block and if you use his pressure tools. I think his pressure can actually be pretty decent when he gets you in the corner. Rashid's got some fascinating shit in the corner. However, my problem with it is that we were expecting Rashid to be kind of like a rushdown character. Granted, somebody's saying, no, his pressure isn't good. Granted, if you parry shit, everything Rashid does just stops, right? He doesn't have some wild thing like Kimberly does, where even if you're parrying, she can throw you into like a mix-up and then you can explode off a thing and then she can pick you up after that, like all this wild and shit. No, he doesn't have any of that, where he can do any of that shit. He pretty much can be parried out of almost everything. So because of the really good defensive tools in Street Fighter 6, a lot of his shit just gets invalidated by parry in many ways, which is unfortunate. His walk speed's also kind of slow, so it's really difficult to kind of like mix people up and throw loop people. Also, a challenging match you're seeing here in general. I have a tough time against fireball characters. When you're fighting people that have fireball characters and you can't even get out your little tornado or anything like that to shoot something over or to jump or to start to move your way in some way, if people don't let you do that, then oh my god, man, like your crappy little fireball gets fucked up and you can't establish a forward movement from full screen. So it's like, oh my god, dude, this is brutal. So the better characters like the Guiles and the Ryus and the Kens and anybody that has a traditional projectile started to fuck me up pretty hard once they knew that, oh, I don't really have anything else from this range. So that was driving me a little bonkers. I would essentially have to get in and then mix people up like crazy and make a lot of really good calls over and over and over again, because you don't do a ton of damage as Rashid. The thing that started to drive me truly fucking bonkers, where it's like, do I want to deal with this anymore? His anti-airs are just straight bad. This guy has 3 anti-airs technically, a total of 3, maybe 4 if you consider one also to be an anti-air. He has down MP, he has stand HK, he has fireball forward HP, and he has technically EX suspending a mix-up. So the problem with all of these anti-airs is that they're hilariously inconsistent. You just saw me do one, right? You just saw me do an anti-air. I got one, and it didn't trade. However, this friggin' move comes out on frame 6 invulnerability. Meaning that if somebody like jumps in and they actually have an active attack, you're fucked. You're actually screwed. Other characters like Ken, when they jump at your ass, this bitch does this. He's like, ugh. He's like, his fucking arm is going through his legs. He's gonna punch your ass as he's coming down. And other characters are the same shit, where their jumping attacks go down, right? They fucking are going below their hitbox and shit when they jump in and they kick your ass. Because of that, when you try to anti-air somebody with Rashid, you're like, fuck, I got the move. I saw it come out. Like, oh, God, maybe I'll try down medium punch. Oh, shit, that didn't work. Let me try it again. Oh, it traded. Oh, thank God it traded. So this is where my brain was just, I was losing it because people started to realize this a few days later, and they were just jumping at his ass like crazy, where the best options he had was you had to be laser focused, sitting there looking at him. You're gonna jump, right? You're gonna jump, right? And the best answer was jump up forward air grab, right? That was it. Jump up forward air grab. But what happens in Street Fighter when you're laser focused and you're only looking for one thing? Dude, you're missing all the other shit that's gonna fuck you up really bad. So it ends up being exhausting, right? However, I came back a second day and I wanted to play more because when things go well with Rashid, they go really well and they're super fun, man. The problem is in many of those situations, and as soon as people realize like how you have to play him, it becomes extremely difficult, just extremely like frustratingly difficult about all this goofy stuff that he has. And the worst part is that the stuff that I thought was fun in day 1 ended up actually being pretty bad in day 2. And that's a lot of his goofy like double jump stuff in the air. All that is super gimmicky, bro. Like all of it is, it's not actually good. The less you do it, the better it is. Until people really find specific setups. And here's the thing. After all this damning impressions of this character, I think he's easily one of the more challenging characters to play in the game, but I don't actually think he's bad, right? I don't think he's bad. We started this whole conversation with the fact that he has so many tools and so many things that he can do. A lot of it gets nullified by parry, but the majority of mix-ups in Street Fighter 6 get nullified by parry, you know, granted. The thing about the character is that he feels like he is made for specialist hands, right? Anybody ever play a fighting game where it's just the weirdest, most obtuse character and all this shit? But you know that someone's going to get good at this and they're going to be fucking good, bro. Like they're going to be crazy good. They're just going to have setups for days. And if you want to talk about one character in Street Fighter 6 that I think is like training mode the character, that is just mix up left right training mode the character, like a Yoshimitsu or some, yeah, exactly, like a Yoshimitsu or some shit, I think that's actually Rashid. I think you're gonna get somebody eventually at a top level of a tournament that's crazy fucking good with this character because they have put a shit ton of time, like an absolute ton of time into Rashid, and it's going to be pretty fascinating to see that happen. In the same way in some other games, it is really fascinating to see that actually happen. So I think that's a possibility. I think that actively is where Rashid's place is gonna be in Street Fighter when it comes to the highest level of play in this game, because there's just no way that you can be ready for all of his crazy mix-up bullshit. Considering his level 2s, considering if the hard knockdowns into full charge wind, into cross-ups and all that kind of shit. I mean, I get it. Once the Rashid players are ready for the options defensively and also, you know, good at all the offensive stuff, you get a lot of damage. Like, you get a shit ton of damage from Rashid, and he immediately starts off as like, god damn, this character's like the lowest damage in the game, what is going on? But no, in some really specific situations, Rashid shits out damage. It's possibly some of the highest, like Marissa level damage in the game, but it's not easy to get to, and it's kind of obtuse, and it takes a bit of time. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that Rashid is kind of like that character in Street Fighter 6 as of right now, but I think it's surprising considering his ease of usability in Street Fighter 5, right? Where they took him being one of the most like approachable kind of easy characters in the previous game because he was obviously like a newcomer. Now he's not, and they made him pretty obtuse, right? They made him where you're gonna have to work for this shit because his buttons are bad, his walk speed isn't specifically great, and his tools aren't all good. You really got to figure out how to use this shit. It'll be fun to see somebody eventually make it into a top 8 and fuck people up with Rashid. That's going to be awesome because we know how good he can be. It's just, are you willing to put up with all this shit, man? And knowing that at this point, we don't actually have a definitive like fix moment for Rashid's like anti-air bullshit. Top 6, mind you, top 6. We don't have a definitive moment. Are they going to fix his anti-airs? Because that's clearly something that they could fix. I don't think it's a bug. I think it's just like he's got a lot of anti-airs, but none of them are specifically good. I don't think we're going to see any of that shit for like a year. And obviously they fixed the busted thing on level 2 Tornado because it was a bug. They'll fix bugs. But if we're talking about balance patches, we already know from the Street Fighter devs, they're not hitting that shit up for a year, dude. So they're letting this game rock. And to be frank, I kind of agree with them. I feel like the game's in kind of a decent state right now, where obviously some characters are better than others, but not to a point where it seems like literally impossible. And granted, Rashid does feel like one of those characters, where he's obviously not the worst character in the game by any means, but he definitely takes some time. And he's not inherently super powerful like some other characters in the game. So, based on that, he didn't end up being a Ken, where his corner carry just dominates, right? He didn't end up really necessarily being a rushdown character. I don't think Rashid is a rushdown character. I think in the end, he's kind of like a mix-up character. I think he is quite specifically a mix-up character in several ways. But being the way Street Fighter 6 is, there's a lot of defensive options, man. And being entirely... What is one of the most powerful mix-ups in Street Fighter 6 right now? Did you press a button, did you block, or did you throw? And did the opponent know what you wanted to do? The most powerful mix-up in the game. It's not a high-low 50-50. It's not left-right 50-50. It's like, it's very few of those situations. It's pretty straightforward strike-throw bullshit, you know? Obviously, we know the characters that are super good at that already.